What's up, YouTube fam? This is Dark Angel's Journey, and I'm Shakira. Yeah, so I thought I'd jump in real quick and we could talk about support and resistance flips and figure out how we can find them, right? And I've got my trusty little book of notes here that I'm going to follow for what we're looking for. And so if that's, seems like a good plan, we'll see if we can find one and then see what would be a good trade entry for that with everything else that we know about price action. All right, hit the like and subscribe button, hit the, well, both of those things really, right? Oh, and don't forget to check out my Luffy. I'm gonna buy a few more shirts, but needs must. All right, so I'm on Ethereum. I've pulled it back. I don't even know, when is this? August. Okay, I want to go back too far, but so let's start off with our usual. Let's make sure we have our trend lines, our juicy trendy trends. Nice couple of touches. I'm making sure all my trend lines are red, and I'm trying to spend too much time making this perfect, but you know what they say, right? The better the setup is, the more accurate you'll get things. All right, cool. And let's see, seeing a little, what, that looks a little juicy. Let me drop that there as a trend line. Touch. Man, I need to put my glasses on. This part, guys, I am not, a fan of people telling me my eyes are getting old. Rude. Pfft, you know what I'm saying? So rude. Anyway, let's see. If it's not obvious, then don't add it. All right. So let's take a quick gander here. Touch. Looking good. I'm going to come to the left here. Touch. And as always, I'm adding my trusty higher lows and my imbalance finder because I like those indicators. They're just helpful. All right. We're on the 1 day. Let's drop to the 4 hour and let's see if we can find a support resistance flip. So basically, what are we looking for? We are looking for a high quality break and then see if there is a support and resistance area near that break, right? So let's see what we have here. Let's see if we can find one first, right? Just to see. And these areas are good places. They're like natural supply or demand areas, depending on which area they're coming in from. So here's a nice break. Okay, it's not bad. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay. And yeah, let's try for this guy. Let's see if this is a good place. All right, so technically if it's a good break, let me go to the 1 hour. Maybe that will be a little bit more easy to see, or maybe we can find something even juicier at that break area. Let's see about this one. That's a nice looking break. All right, I'm in the middle of the channel. Let's see, do we have anything coming in at that break area? This is okay. So let's see, it would be this area, this break area. Is there anything around here? Maybe some stuff happening. Let's see, it's around the break. Oopsie, something like that. It's like a zone, right? Around the break. See if this moves, if this has been touched multiple times. Ooh, look at that. That's not bad. All right, so how far back can we go? All right. It's been tapped a bunch of times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a very strong one, right? So what we're expecting is, let's bring this over this way. And let's just set this as a potential SR flip. So what are we expecting? We're expecting potentially price will roll down to this area, react to it, and maybe pop back up. It hasn't come down to tap it yet from this area, but you never know. So the first things first was to find a nice high quality break. We found one. We confirmed an SR flip area by checking to make sure that it had been touched multiple times. And then I guess technically you're supposed to look for any kind of previous liquidity hunt But price hasn't come down to this area again, so we might need to move this along. Yeah, we might need to move this, push this forward a bit. So let's see. Alrighty, let's let's let that run. What I'm looking for is, you know, if it's going to come back down, and actually right now we're coiling up, so looks like we're breaking out. It might take a while to come back to this SR flip. Looks like we're looking to get rejected off of this area. Let's see, what, anything to tell us? Here's another, no, it's not the best. We're looking at resistance too, so that's not a good play. Anyway, let me adjust my break here. I try not to make this one too long, but it's all dependent on what we can find, right? There's also this juicy spot right here, which you could call like another natural supply area. And that's more of like a rally base rally scenario. That's also a natural supply area. So we weren't really trying to talk about that, but it might be a good idea to pay attention to it because price might not go back down to the SR flip area because of that. So I'm just gonna do RBR zone for now, and just see if that turns out to be a thing, because it did respond to it here. And just like the support and resistance areas, if we pull this back this way, we can also see if price has reacted to this a lot recently. So it came in, it did talk a little bit, then it kept dropping. So I don't know how I feel about that particular space, but I want to be aware of it, you know, and I think that's the important part we need to be aware of. Other things to be aware of are imbalances in the chart, as always. So places where price, you know, that could be targets for entries. So let me just mark out the imbalances, at least at the top here. And there's a tiny bit of a one down here. It's not really very big, but let's just mark it out anyway. Imbalance. Okay, so right now price is doing a weird skirting. What I'm hoping for, what I was hoping for, maybe we should go down into like the 15 minutes to see if we can find anything juicy. Maybe another rally, maybe another SR flip area. But we're kicking it at resistance, so it looks like we're coiling back down. So let's let that play a little bit more, because here's an option. Here's what is essentially a nice break on the 15. Let's add that. And based off of where this break occurs, let me zoom in a little bit here. Looks like this green, or maybe this green candle, it always gets me, will be like our order block, right? Sorry, not green, red. This red candle would be like our order block, entry zone, potential for going that way. But we have to, it's kind of like a demand zone as well. But we have to also be very careful, because price could just shoot back down and head towards our other areas here, imbalances and all that good stuff. So we got to stay, you know, pay attention to price action. And on top of that, we do have this juicy imbalance down here that hasn't even been touched yet, along with the one right below it. So I'm just going to make one big thing for that. I'll just make it imbalance. It can get a little busy. So I was hoping to do a proper supply and resistance hit, and sometimes you can find it in the actual lower time frames. Again, primary thing is there has to be a nice rally area, a high quality break, which this is also considered a high quality break. So this area at the break would be considered another rally based rally, but I keep saying rally based rally, I mean supply and resistance flip. Okay, so let's see, price is coming back down. All right, hold on. So we have this break here, we have another break here, and at the point of the break, I'm just gonna bring these together. And this, in a short term, is a drop, base, drop. I don't know if it's the strongest, but but this is also a break as well. I don't know if I would be at my current level be able to even trade a drop base drop, because look at how deep that thing did its thing. Man. But what I'm curious about is if there's a natural supply flip area up here. It's a little hard because we're right by this resistance and we're dropping below it, and we have this higher level SR flip zone all the way down here. It's going to be a while before it gets there, so that might not be our best play, right? So we need to find one that's closer. So we have what is essentially a strong break right here. Boom. So maybe that's going to create us another potential for a support resistance flip area. So let's see if that is going to work out. So something around the break, something like that. Let's see. And let's see if it's been touched elsewhere. There we are. And there's some areas and some other, yep. Okay, so it's been tap, 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 tapped. So we've had 1, 2, oh, that one took 1, 2, 3 hits and rejected, and then finally broke through, roll back up as another option and got rejected back down again. That got rejected, rejected, and then finally broke through, flipped it into support, and now let's see if it continues being support. Okay, so now that we have a potential for this, let me do this. Okay, let's see how this plays out, because one of two things will happen. So we've got a drop base drop here on the 15, and for this particular break, we had a giant engulfing candle here, which is always a good sign. We have an imbalance for this break, so that's juicy. This green candle started it, so here's a potential for, and this is assuming one of two things, right? Because we have an imbalance above here that price could roll back up to, and we have two potential actions, right, that could occur. Let me see if I can draw this out. Let me do this. Okay, so we've got drop, retrace, drop, retrace, and we could continue on like so, retrace, and eat this imbalance, something like that, right? So that's one option. The other option is if we did drop, retrace, and it can't quite clear this low and continues back up to retest this stop. So that's option one, and then we have option two, which is to come this way, do something like that, and then retest this thing. All right, and let me change the color on that. Whatever, yeah. So those are the options. So we have to see what price does, and in order, dependent on what happens, if it comes here, retest, I'm still looking for a short. We are in a downtrend, right? All right, so let's let price play out for a little bit longer. And what are we doing? We're making, oh, look, it's the other option. All right, cool. So now that it's all the way up here, it's eating this imbalance. Do we see any areas for liquidity hunt up here, like equal highs, maybe a swing failure pattern? So I should try and remember to mark these things out. So here's a potential swing failure area where price is basically saying, we tried, we failed, we're not gonna make it over that. So my question now becomes, if I go into like the lower time frames, and I'm not sure if it'll let me, if TradingView will let me do that, but we're at this imbalance. This break seems to be the one it wants to work with, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this one because that's just confusing. And look at the flip though. Look at how it reacted to this flip. It touched it, touched it, touched it, and then went back up. That's the power of these things, right? As long as they've been touched a bunch of times, right? And especially in situations like this, we're super close to like resistance. So you don't want to like go long on something like this. You want to like take a short from like here once we get some kind of confirmation. So at this point, we're looking for some kind of market structure, a nice break with maybe a candlestick pattern to confirm it, an imbalance near it. You know, we want to add like building blocks to make it juicy. All right, let's see what we can see, and let's play this along. All right, so just letting the candles play out. All right, so what do we have first and foremost, right? Any confirmation is not going to break this thing, or at least as much as I can possibly get. So we have this tiny imbalance here. We have from this break the entry zone, which I hadn't bothered to draw. So we had this break. I do believe, since it was sideways, this tiny green candle right here. So this would technically be our entry zone. Let me take this. Let's just do 15 minutes. And from here, from this break, a few things to take note of, right? So from the break, we have this beautiful engulfing candle. Well, it's not perfect, but it's pretty juicy. Pretty strong move down. Actually, I'm going to take that back. I don't know if I want to call that an engulfing candle. But let's play that out and see, because right now we're seeing indecision. Sellers try to come in, buyers are like no right now. There it is. Okay, so now that I've seen this, we've got an indecision candle, we've got this guy, we're looking at an evening star, right? And they've eaten this imbalance as well. So I can do one of two things, honestly. Let me grab my shorting tool. Is that the right one? Yeah. Oops. So I've got this strong red candle, but it's an imbalance. I don't know if they're going to pop back up again. But the entry zone had like a tiny imbalance, which has already been eaten. So, you know, bye Felicia to that. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to enter on this next candle and drop my thing right above here. Let's say I went in and looked at the ATR indicator, grabbed what the ATR is at that point, and like added that to this guy. And then what do we have down here? Oh, look, it's a juicy imbalance. So let's go. Let's see if we can't go to this puppy, right? Let's see if we can tap it, because sometimes they tap it and keep it moving. Because now our options are this. If this is going to play out, you know, what you want to see is this, a lower retrace, further down, another retrace, and then a continuation down. That's what we're looking to see. So let's see if what my thoughts are will play out. And honestly, entering right after this is probably not the best idea. Maybe we want to wait for this to stop and retrace. Let's say we did that. Let's see we waited for a retrace and come back in. Technically, you'd want to go into like the lower time frames, like say 5 minutes, 2 minutes, find another good break like this for the entry. But I don't want to do that right now because TradingView might kick me out. So let's see if that works out. Let's just play that out. All right. Oh, stopped out. All right, but remember guys, even when you see when things get stopped out, pay attention to the pattern, right? Look at what it's forming. It's forming a head and shoulders, which is technically just a I'm gonna delete these for a hot second, which is technically just a W formation, right? So it looks like it's done this, retrace, found the head, coming down, and so if it drops like so, does a little retrace and continue, retrace and continue. Like that's what I'm expecting to get us to this area. So this first entry, like I said, you know, we'd have had to go to a lower time frame to find like a decent break to confirm our entry. Can't do that, so we're speculating, right? So in this case, what was my problem? My problem was if I were to enter here without the lower time frame confirmation, I get stopped out by this. Let's zoom in on this juicy, irritating candle. Stop, hunt for the win. Ooh. Not to mention all of the equal liquidity hunts here. Do we have another one? All right, so we got some swing failures, some equals right here as well. So they're hunting all that stuff. So let's let that play out a little bit more, and we can figure ourselves out another entry, assuming this plays out in the pattern that I'm thinking it does. So let's see. I'm wrong. This is a breakout of some sort. Hold on. Let's let that play. Oh! Stop. Okay, so. This definitely wasn't a very, very juicy level, that's for sure. But the one thing we did figure out was how to find the swing failure. Sorry, the support and resistance flips. That's the important part. But this break right here is a potential for another. This is another juicy break area right here, and this is a potential for another swing failure area around the break. So, and these things happen all over the place. So let's see if we do have another option for this and see how often they get tapped, touched. Oh, looky. I'll get all that cookie. All right, touch, yeah. So we might be looking at another option, you know, a potential for it to come back down and move back up. But I'm gonna stop there because, you know, that was a potential entry. It didn't work out for me, but you know, it broke this resistance area, and if this turns into support, then most likely you would want to look for a long from here. But macro sentiment basically says that's not a great idea. Let me roll back up to the 1 hour and see where we are in relation to our so there's, you know, any type of potential for it to go back up. But like I said, if you combine all of these different price action strategies, you'll probably end up with some pretty good strong methods for an entry. This one you know, I was just testing it out, but it didn't work. And you'll find that not every time you create a setup it's going to work for you. No. But now, that looks like this definitely is another style of break, so potentially might come back down for a retest up. But like I said, I didn't want to make this video too long, so I'm going to let this one slide. But remember, just a quick recap, right? So when we're looking for the support and resistance flips, we're looking for areas, and I'll use this one as a good example. We're looking for areas right after our juicy break, right? A nice, strong red candle break, maybe even a few red candles breaks. That would be great. And then you want to draw your SR flip, and I use this one instead. Boom, that big one. You want to draw your SR flip around the break area, and then, you know, drag it back to the other side to see how many times that area has been tested and retested, because remember, it's a zone, not just a line. And just make sure, boom, boom. So like once it flips, that's a scenario where it comes back. Like in this case, it was, you know, in this case, it was using it as resistance, right? Rejected, and then it busted through and then switched it to support right here. So support. So once it did that, you're potentially looking a for it to hit it and fly away to some juicy price action stuff. Now, I didn't spend time to figure out if there was a nice imbalance up here, or even to like really double check that my level was really perfect. My resistance level here was really perfect. But you know, the whole point was to just work through the support and resistance flip stuff, at least to find them. And then once we found them, can we find other good entries? So I'll do another video about trying to find a good entry from the support and resistance, because this one definitely failed, like miserably. Anyway, say hi to Luffy. What's up? Y'all enjoy the rest of your Friday. Have a drink. Definitely don't think of me while you do that, but maybe do. Who knows, right? Like and subscribe. Drop a comment down below if you like this type of content, or if you're looking for something a little bit different. But these are the things that I'm learning, so I just want to share that. All right. Happy Friday. Shakira, out.